Hello, English learners. Welcome to my channel. Are you ready to level up your English?
All right, so you asked us to really get into this whole topic of being afraid to speak English.
Yeah, it's a big one. So many people feel that hesitation.
Totally. And the request was really clear.
hmm
Let's unpack it, figure out maybe some ways to, help move past that feeling. So that's pretty much our mission for this deep dive.
And it's fascinating, isn't it, how much of it is like internal, that voice inside your head.
Oh, absolutely. The internal critic.
Yeah, exactly. Even if your English comprehension is great, that worry about making a mistake, it can be really loud, really stops you in your tracks sometimes.
Okay, so it's less about just knowing the words and grammar and more about tackling that inner voice.
Pretty much. How do we quiet that down a bit?
Yeah. What are some strategies?
Well, think about learning other skills, like learning to drive a car.
Okay.
You definitely spelled it, right? Maybe scraped a curb, I know I did.
Yeah. Definitely stalled a few times.
But you didn't just give up driving forever. With language, it's kind of the same. Every little mistake, every stall or bump, it's just information. It tells you what needs tweaking.
Okay. So instead of thinking, oh, God, I messed up,
Yeah, that catastrophic thinking.
you think, okay, data point noted, try this next time.
Exactly. See it as data, not disaster.
Data points. I like that framing. It takes the pressure off a bit.
It does. And, the other thing is, our fear of being judged, it's usually way overblown.
Do you think so?
Yeah, most people you talk to, especially if they know you're learning, they're focused on understanding you. Communication is the goal, not grammatical perfection.
Right. They just want to get the message.
Exactly. They're not sitting there with a red pen.
Okay, that's reassuring. Now, something specific in the request was about speaking slowly and clearly.
Yes. Good point.
It feels a bit counterintuitive, maybe. Like when you're nervous, isn't the instinct to just rush and get it over with?
Totally. That rush comes straight from the anxiety. But here's the thing. Slowing down actually helps.
How so?
Well, it gives your brain a bit more time, Time to find the right words, time to get the pronunciation clearer.
Okay.
And when you are clearer, people understand you better. That means fewer awkward moments, fewer misunderstandings, which in turn actually dials down the anxiety.
Huh. So speaking slowly boosts your own confidence because you feel more in control, and it helps the listener, which reduces potential stress triggers.
Precisely. It's a win-win. You're giving yourself a chance to succeed in that moment.
It's like giving your brain a moment to catch up with your mouth instead of tripping over yourself.
Exactly that. It changes the focus. Instead of aiming for fast and perfect, which is impossible anyway,
Right.
you aim for clear and understood. And that mental shift, it can make a massive difference to how comfortable you feel.
So wrapping this up then, the main takeaway is don't let the fear win.
Yeah, challenge it. Recognize that mistakes aren't failures, they're just feedback, learning opportunities.
And you speaking slowly and clearly, almost like a tool, a superpower to manage that hesitation.
Absolutely. It puts you back in the driver's seat, so to speak.
Okay, so thinking about all this, a final thought maybe for you listening right now. What's one really small step, like tiny, you could take today?
Yeah, something concrete to practice speaking without letting that fear dictate things.
Could be super simple. Like you said, ordering a coffee.
Or maybe reading just one paragraph from an article out loud to yourself.
Yeah.
Anything. What might that one small thing be for you? Just something to think about.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So last time we talked about that initial fear, right? When you start speaking English.
Yeah, that big hurdle.
Exactly. And today, we're kind of shifting gears, moving past just the fear and looking at, well, how do you actually get better?
Right. We're continuing with our pasted text source part 2 this time.
And the mission today, really, is to find some, concrete ways to improve by doing something that feels a bit backwards sometimes.
Totally. If last time was about getting over the mental block, this part, according to the source, is much more about the doing. About, actively learning while you speak.
Which means dealing with mistakes.
Exactly. It's all about how you view those moments you stumble. They're inevitable, really.
Okay, let's break that down.
Yeah.
Because I think, most people want to sound perfect immediately. It's just natural.
Oh, definitely.
But what this source seems to be saying is maybe aiming for perfect right out of the gate is, well, it's not just tough. It kind of misses the whole point.
Yeah, it suggests the real learning, the deep stuff, happens when you actually change how you think about making mistakes.
So how does the source reframe them then? instead of just, oh no, I messed up.
Well, it's interesting. It presents them less as failures and more as information, like little signals.
Signals.
Yeah, like your brain going, hold on, that connection wasn't quite right. Let's figure out why. It's feedback, essentially.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Not a stop sign, but maybe a little detour sign showing you where to look closer.
Precisely. And that leads to some really practical stuff in the source. It's not just saying, oh, it's okay to make mistakes. It's about what you do with them.
Actively engaging with them, you mean?
Exactly that. So when you slip up, don't just brush it off or feel embarrassed and move on as fast as possible.
Which is tempting.
So tempting. But instead, take like half a second, ask yourself, okay, why did that happen? Was it grammar? Did I just forget the word? Or maybe I pronounced it weirdly.
Finding the root cause.
Yeah. Because figuring that out is super helpful for next time. You learn from it directly.
Okay, and building on that sort of mindfulness about errors, the source gives a specific technique. It mentions speaking slow and clean.
Mm-hmm.
That phrase really struck me. It's not about speed, is it? It's about making sure you're understood, even if you sound a bit deliberate.
Exactly. The slow and clean thing is about being intentional. You're consciously thinking about the words, how the sentence fits together.
Building a better foundation.
You got it. It forces you to be more present with the language you're actually producing. Like, instead of just blurting out a past tense you're iffy on.
Like goad instead of went. We've all been there.
Totally. But if you slow down just enough to think, wait, is it goed or went? And consciously pick went, you're reinforcing the right pattern.
Ah, I see. So you're trading a bit of speed maybe for accuracy right now.
Yeah, in the short term.
But that accuracy then helps you become more fluent later on because you've built the right habits.
Exactly. You might not sound like you're racing, but people are much more likely to understand you clearly.
Which builds confidence, I imagine.
Huge confidence booster. And importantly, it actually makes it easier to spot your own errors because you're more aware of what you're actually saying.
Okay, so pulling this all together.
Yeah.
The big message here, the really empowering part from this source, seems to be that mistakes aren't failures.
Not at all.
They're actually like part of the roadmap for learning English speaking. They're necessary.
That's a great way to put it. They're not things to avoid at all costs, but valuable feedback. Little clues.
They show you where you need to focus next.
Exactly. It's that fundamental shift, Stop seeing errors as just bad. See them as chances to genuinely improve. Opportunities for growth.
Right. So for everyone listening, maybe here's something to think about. Reflect on a conversation you had recently in English, maybe one where you stumbled a bit. Instead of just feeling that little pang of, ugh, try to remember what it was. What did that specific mistake actually teach you? And how can you use that knowledge consciously next time you speak?
That's the real work.
That's the deep dive into actually becoming a better, more confident English speaker.